Good morning, everybody. Off to a little bit later start. Had to drop off my oldest to the dentist. Got a braces appointment. Got to do that like every month. So, got to take both children. Take them both to school. Usually the oldest takes the bus, but it's this early morning dentist appointment. So, anyways, hopefully you're all enjoying this wonderful ride along here. So I actually got finally someone contacted me for some bitcoins and a few other people. So I don't know what that means. Maybe that's an indication that perhaps there's a buying momentum. Maybe. So there's definitely something going on. You know, there's obviously some pressure to buy now for whatever reason, but by the time you watch this video, you know, it'll be over. What is it? It's April 24th today. So by the time you hear this, it'll be too late, but it doesn't matter. You know, just something to talk about in my drive along rants here. Anyways, so yeah, there may be some temporary buying pressure. The price of Bitcoin has gone up over 9,000, 9,200, 9,300 this morning. So there seems to be some buying pressure now. Will it last? Because at the current prices, you're still 50% from all-time high. So, or at least under, more than 50%, like more like 51 or more percent from all-time high. So, can I say this is a recovery? No. You know, when it's a recovery, when the price of Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, goes back to the previous all-time high, and then makes a new all-time high. That's when it's a recovery. Until then, in my opinion, it's still considered a depressed market or a bear market for the most part. So I can't believe I purchased some Bitcoin, let me see, about early part of 2017, and I didn't buy that much, and it's lasted me this long. I still have the original amount of, part of the original amount of coins. I've been offering them up, and I still have them. So the price has gone up at the all-time high 20-fold or 20x, and even now it's at 6 or 7x or 9x, almost 10x. And the good thing about Bitcoin, in my opinion, is you can buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin and get a 10 to 20x. That's possible. That's doable. For some people, it's 10,000x if you bought it early enough. But in a year's period, to go from a 20x from 2017 to go to 20x increase, that's very impressive. With other altcoins, especially with low liquidity and low market cap, liquidity is important too. There's some altcoins out there that have a high market cap because they just generated coins. They sell one coin at $5, and all of a sudden all the coins that they basically have locked up that are not available to dump on the market, all of those coins are worth $5, and that's not the case. There has to be some good volume in those coins. So if you do this with an altcoin, I mean, you could probably turn $1,000 into $5,000, or turn $100 into $1,000. You can do that, and that's like 100x, right? Or 10x or whatever. It's possible to do that, or you could turn like $1 into $100, so you 100x your investment. But you can't do that with $1 million worth in altcoins. You can't do that because it would just drive the market to nothing. All right, it just drive it. The liquidity isn't there. You go through the order books on the exchanges, and plus there's no peer-to-peer market. There's no market outside of the exchanges that you could trade person to person with, and you can't dump $1 million. So you can't take your $1 million worth of altcoin and get $10 million worth of cash. You can't do that with altcoins. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. It's a short little rant. Had to start a little bit later. I'll do another one here shortly, or maybe I'll combine them. I'll just stop this one and just continue on. So let me stop here, and I'll be right back. All right, everyone, I'm back. Dropped off number 2. Go pick up number 1, and take number 1 to school. Anyways, so as I was saying, altcoins, you just can't do large volumes, large amounts in the same way you can do with Bitcoin. So I've always said that. So people who talk about altcoins and how much money you can make, that's great. That's all on paper, but unfortunately that's not real money in your hands. That's just imaginary money you think you have. Makes you feel rich, makes you think you're rich, but you're still living very poor. It's kind of like BitConnect. If you're familiar with BitConnect, people were supposedly making 1% a day, 40% a month. At the end, BitConnect collapsed. That number that they saw on the computer screen, well, that number was nothing more than a number on a computer screen. They didn't buy their Lambo. They didn't buy. They didn't do anything. They blew their money. They took their Bitcoin. At the same time, Bitcoin went up. That's when Bitcoin went from basically $1,000 to $20,000. So essentially, they took maybe $1,000, one Bitcoin. So they turned their one Bitcoin and got maybe 10,000, quote unquote, $10,000 on BitConnect, which is a Ponzi scheme on a computer screen that they're looking at, that they had to make loans every day, or they could have just kept on to their one Bitcoin and would have been worth 20,000, which they could have, or not easily, but more easier than BitConnect. They could have, easily converted that 20,000 into 20,000 cash, or actually used it to go somewhere on travel. Could have bought a car. Could have done a lot of things. I mean, they could have used the Bitcoin to actually purchase an item. Could have done a lot of things, but instead, everyone got burned on BitConnect. So that's what altcoins are essentially like. Very similar to that. It's just a number on a screen until you actually turn it into something real, physical. It's all virtual. In other words, it doesn't really exist. It's all in your head. So that's what makes Bitcoin different than all the other altcoins or any Ponzi or multi-level marketing schemes. You can actually turn Bitcoin into cold hard cash. You could turn it into a car. You could turn it into a house. That has been done. So why people mess around with other stuff is beyond me. It just, I don't know, stupidity, I would have to say, willful ignorance, greed, And the other thing is, like, why would a site offer you 40% return month after month or 1% return day after day, right? Why would they offer you that when they could just do it themselves and make all the money, right? They could just start with their own money, $1, and then keep doing that and just make money for themselves all day long, right? Why would they share money with you? Same thing with Genesis Mining. Genesis Mining was the same way too. A lot of people started like pumping Genesis Mining, and if you took one Bitcoin at the beginning of 2017, right, which was about $1,000, you would have by around December you would have $20,000. If you take that same thing and you took one Bitcoin and you bought a Genesis Mining contract with your one Bitcoin, which would be $1,000, in 1 year you would barely get back your $1,000. Maybe a little bit more because the price of Bitcoin went up during that time. So maybe you made $1,500 in 1 year. Essentially, you would have to wait 3 more years, right, to get a pretty decent return. Even with the depressed prices right now, you've gone from 1,000 to almost 9,000, perhaps even 10,000. So why would a company who makes money make money for you when they could do it for themselves? If they can get a 1% return, 4% return, whatever, if they can make a return, why don't they use their own money? Which apparently, if the whole pitch is just put a little bit of money into it and you'll get money back and then some. Well, why don't they just put their own little bit of money into it, right? Why don't they just put their own little bit of money into it, and then they would make all the money for themselves? Why do they need your money? It kind of makes you wonder, right? Because most likely they need your money to pay off other people, and they need new people to come in, right? Like a Ponzi or a pyramid, and that's how it works. That's how most of these cryptocurrencies work, and these other platforms. Genesis Mining, Steam it, the decentralized social media site. That's all BS. If it's so, like, Steam, it's been around for at least 2-3 years now. If it's so great, it should be taking over Facebook and YouTube. Hasn't happened at all. The only thing Steemit has going for it is the price of its token, which people, talk about, which in reality, it's being manipulated by the Steam-backed dollar. I did some research into it. If you take your Steam-backed dollar, because everything is priced in Steam-backed dollars, that's how you cash out. But you have another token, which is the Steemit token, that has its own value. So people are saying, wow, look at the Steam-backed dollar, it's going up in price, we're going to get more money. No, you're going to get less money. All right, you're going to get less money for your Steemit. If the Steam-backed dollar goes up in value, that means it's being inflated, meaning that you'll get less money. It's kind of like inflation. The price of everything goes up in value, but you have X amount of dollars. So you have $100, but the price of milk goes up to $20, from $1 to $20. So the price of milk's gone up to $20. Does that make your money worth more? No, it doesn't. So Steam-backed dollars going up in value means or equals, basically equates to you having less money. Your Steam it is worth less money. So, you know, people are just stupid. People are really stupid. And that's kind of why they're in cryptocurrency. They're people who are in cryptocurrency, most of them, or I would say majority of them, are not very smart people. And that's why they're into cryptocurrency, because they got duped by someone who was smart or smarter than them to basically have them give up their money. So that's the truth of the story. So that's what's really going on. And because it's all unregulated, that's why they're being duped. That's why they're being duped all the time. But it seems like some regulation is coming into this market. And so, you know, and you're seeing a lot of these Ponzi's and pyramids kind of go away. If they were really real, why don't they just stick around and register themselves and register the owners and the people who created these investment schemes? Why don't they just register themselves? Because they're fraudulent. They know that eventually they'll get sued, and also probably go be charged with some criminal fraud, and that's why they don't register themselves. And it's easier if nobody knows who you are. Just run away with the money, right? That's pretty much it. But I don't know. The price of Bitcoin going up, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. If it does, the price does go up, that means there's a new Ponzi or a new pyramid or some investment fraud or scheme that's about to happen, where it collects everybody's Bitcoin, holds it, right, locks it up, driving the price up, making it seem like you're making money. But when it's time to pay out, all of a sudden the market will crash, the investment scheme will crash, all this weird nonsense. So if I see another price go up, there's probably some kind of, most likely, investment fraud occurring right now, where people are getting suckered for the most part. Just my opinion. I mean, but if you want to get into the game, I just recommend just go get some Bitcoin and let the stupid people or the idiots out there drive up the price. And then you, since you actually own the actual Bitcoin, not somebody else doesn't hold it for you, you actually have it, you own the private keys, you can then, if you're smart enough, if you're very smart and very keen, and you understand how the game is played, you can then dump it onto the greater fools out there, which there are many greater fools out there, and make a tremendous amount of money, and then watch the price just go back down. And because all the greater fools out there are panic selling or whatever they're doing, or the Ponzi and the fraudulent schemes they're being dumped, right? They're being dumped because they're exit scamming. And then you can pick up some more Bitcoin and do this all over again. There's a sucker born every day. Anyways, that's it from me today. See you later.